Today's review is sponsored by the new Bear Trap Diet Plan. Lose weight or lose your hand. It's your choice.
Watch it, Alan. I'm shooting.
Street trash. This video is also sponsored by Viper. We need more body melting movies. There's just something about watching someone melt into a pile of goo that's both horrifying and entertaining. Body horror is one of my favorite genres. Street trash takes that and mixes it with my favorite setting for horror movies. I love when horror flicks take place in cities. Street trash is one of the dirtiest, sleaziest movies in body horror, and I love it. Our movie takes place in New York City. We follow the lives of those in the homeless population. The main character, Fred, lives in a junkyard where he tries to care for his younger brother, Kevin.
I go all the way to the fucking block to steal a bottle from Ed, and then Paulie steals it from me. Wizzy plants his foot halfway up my ass, and I lose $3 in a goddamn garbage crusher.
However, the junkyard is also home to a gang of homeless run by the sadistic Bronson. No, not that one. He's a former Vietnam vet with psychotic tendencies.
Don't you ever bitch at me in front of the men again, do you hear me? I'll flat your ugly face.
And so, we follow the daily struggles of the homeless. While that's going on, the owner of one of the liquor stores in the area discovers a case of this strange booze called Viper. It's this strange liquid that's been hidden away for years. He found it boarded up in his basement. So naturally, the best thing to do is sell this stuff for $1 a bottle to those living on the streets. Oh, and I should mention that Viper has a little tendency to make people melt.
Look!
You have to know what you're getting into when watching Street Trash. This is not trying to be a serious horror movie. It's trying to be sleazy, cheesy fun, and it succeeds in that very well. This is a horror comedy along the lines of Frankenhooker or Basket Case. Street Trash feels like a Frank Henenlotter movie, but it was not directed by Frank Henenlotter. It was directed by J. Michael Muro.
Look at my masterpiece.
What the hell is that, Rome?
Oh, man. What do you think, Glenn?
But he did work with Henenlotter. He was the Steadicam operator for Brain Damage, and many other movies which we will get into in a minute. I love B-movies, especially ones that take full advantage of their idea. A common complaint of mine is when filmmakers have this crazy idea, but they don't do anything with it. They have a couple scenes here and there, and then they fill the rest of their movie with padding. Street Trash does take advantage of its idea, but while people melting is the highlight of the movie, it's not the focus. There's not much you can really do with the idea of an alcoholic beverage that makes people melt. If you only focused on that, the movie would get repetitive. Someone drinks Viper and then they melt. Someone drinks Viper and then they melt. Someone drinks Viper and then they melt. Street Trash knows how to manage that idea. The Viper plotline happens around the story, and it does not rely on padding to fill out its runtime. It fills it with fun characters and scenes.
Let's give this a try. Just desperate enough to get a buzz off. Oh, Jesus, did you piss in this or something? Oh, just a little.
The main focus of the movie is the shenanigans of the hobos and this detective trying to find out why people are melting. Bronson is the main villain of the movie. He's so psychotic and intimidating. He has a femur bone for a knife, for Christ's sake.
Infurious slug.
Then you have Fred, his brother Kevin, and various other side characters. Fred is a bit of an asshole, but you understand why. He lives a hard life, trying to take care of his little brother while they struggle to live. He does do morally questionable things, but this is a selfish world he lives in. That would take a toll on anybody. He's still a good lead because he's an asshole in an entertaining way. So he's a likable asshole?
Fuck you. Give me a bottle of booze. Here's my $1. Suck my dick.
There are a lot of fun scenes involving the side characters. There's one scene where the character Bert is stealing food from a grocery store. He's casually shoving food down his pants like it's an everyday thing. I just love how he insults everyone who calls him out for stealing.
You're robbing the store, young man, and I'm telling the manager.
Yeah, you do that.
Oh, wrinkle honky motherfucker.
Then there are a few scenes that are a tad over the top, like the scene where the hobos play keep away with a man's dick. This guy gets his manhood cut off, and the other hobos start tossing it around. I can hear some naysayers out there saying, look at that, they took a movie about alcohol that makes people melt into multicolored piles of goo and turned it into something silly. A scene like that should tell you what kind of movie you're getting into. It's filthy, it's in bad taste, and it's a blast. The melting effects are great. You get a good amount of melting in the first act, then it takes a back seat in the second act, and then it comes back in the third act.
Shit.
I think spacing out the melting scenes makes them more impactful. What makes these scenes stand out is the colors. People don't just melt into piles of flesh, they melt into colorful slime. Vibrant colors too, and it's a good contrast with the setting. This is a sleazy New York flick, so everything is dingy, dirty, and gritty, which I love. I'm all about the sleaze. But having the deaths so colorful and bright, it makes them more memorable. The practical effects are so well done. Street Trash only had a budget of $500,000, which was around the same budget as The Toxic Avenger, but I would say these movies are about on the same level when it comes to gore effects. The cinematography in Street Trash is pretty damn good. It helps the movie move forward. Throughout the film we get some interesting camera work.
Let go, you fucking... Let's go.
The director, J. Michael Muro, also did camera work for Street Trash. He went on to do camera work for many movies. He specialized in Steadicam. He was the Steadicam operator for Maniac Cop and Slime City. But then he went on to be a camera operator and Steadicam operator for many big movies, including Dances with Wolves, Terminator 2, True Lies, Casino, and Titanic. Horror, exploitation cinema, and B-movies are where so many people got their start. There are a lot of connections between these bigger movies and exploitation cinema. Now you'll never be able to watch this.
I'm the king of the world!
Without thinking of this. Street Trash is a lot of fun. True that fun is executed in a sleazy, dirty way, but it's still fun. Everything about this movie is just the right amount of over the top. Over the top enough to be entertaining, but not so over the top that it becomes too cartoony. It's still cartoony, but it's the right amount of cartoony. I love my classic atmospheric horror movies, but I also love some good old dirty fun. And I think that you'll have a good time with this too. Especially if you like goo. And now, it's time for the Grindhouse rankings. We've got a body count of 20, but that includes people who died in flashbacks. The kills consist mostly of melting, but we also have a body explosion, death by stabbing, and decapitation by air tank. There's a lot of nudity in here, full frontal of both male and females, plus a severed dick flying through the air. Does that count as nudity? Sure, why not? It reaches the body horror requirements with all its messy, melting deaths. I love the setting. The dirty city streets add that extra grindhouse feel. This is a sleazy movie, not just from the gritty setting, but because of the dialogue, the nudity, and the gory deaths, which I'm all for. The characters are entertaining to watch. We enjoy the shenanigans they get into. They can be assholes, but they're likable assholes, if that makes any sense. The practical effects are fantastic, some of the best in B-movies. There is space between each melting scene, but the story between the melting is entertaining. And Bronson is a good, psychotic villain. I'm giving Street Trash a 4.3 out of 5. It's a fun B-horror movie that gorehounds will enjoy. Filthy and fun. As always, I want to thank everyone for watching and supporting my channel. Please leave a comment down below. Let me know your favorite melting scenes in movies. If you can't think of any, then just give me your favorite body horror related death. This is the Maniac, here to remind you that the Grindhouse will never die. Now I'm gonna enjoy me a nice cold glass of Viper.
You cursed rat! Look what you've done!